Even among the overgrown forests of the Empire, the Drakewald bears a particularly ominous reputation. The men of Middenland may nominally lay claim to its rich timber and plentiful game, but they know in their heart of hearts that they are little more than prey when they venture into its depths. Monstrous creatures skitter beneath the Drakewald's canopy, and crude beastmen seem to lurk within every shadow. Yet the Children of Chaos are not the only dangers to dwell within the forest. Several forest goblin tribes have made their home within the Drakewald, and while they despise the beastmen, the goblins reserve the bulk of their animosity for the men of the Empire. The humans have been trying to civilize the forest for millennia, disrupting the goblins' sacred spider grounds. The goblins, in turn, have raised dozens of imperial townships within the forest's reach. This conflict, known as the War of the Drakewald, has become a legendary proving ground for forest goblin warriors, a place for a tribe or mob to earn fame and renown in battle against the Humiez. No mob has achieved more fame in this war than the infamous Deff Creepers. The Deff Creepers are a regiment of forest goblin spider riders, led by the goblin big boss, Snaggle Grobspit. Grobspit and the Deff Creepers are among the most lethal warriors in the War of the Drakewald, and they've played pivotal roles in the goblins' most important victories over the Empire. At the Forest Road Massacre, it was their skittering charge that broke the Imperial flank and gave the day to the Greenskins. It was the Deff Creepers that silenced the central watchtower of Glomstadt, leaving the town unprepared for the hordes of howling forest goblins that soon summited its walls. They are incredibly stealthy, and they excel at sneaking into the perfect spot before unleashing a devastating ambush. The undulating warcry they unleash while charging makes men's blood run cold with terror as they realize the Deff Creepers are upon them. Time and time again, wherever men in greenskin clash within the Drakewald, the Deff Creepers are there, delivering death when the enemy least expects it. The Deff Creepers practice several unique traditions inherited from the almost extinct Red Venom tribe. Once, the Red Venoms were a moderately powerful group of forest goblins in the Drakewald, but an Empire patrol wiped them out, almost to the goblin. Snaggle was its only surviving member, and even then only because he was away on a hunt. While he has new boys now, Grobspit still insists his mob wear the striped feathers and face paint of the Red Venom tribe. The Deff Creepers particularly enjoy taking the feathers worn by Empire troops, bathing them in their former owner's blood before using them to adorn their shields and weapons. Seeing their comrade's ornamental feather decorating a goblin's blade is disheartening for most Empire soldiers, much to the goblin's delight. During the end times, Snaggle Grobspit and the Deff Creepers ventured far from their usual stomping grounds, answering the call of Skarsnik's Wah and Carrick Eight Peaks. They initially busied themselves by hunting dwarf rangers, adorning their spears and banners with severed Dawi heads. When Skarsnik lured Queek into an ambush at the Great Vale, however, the Deff Creepers saw pitched battle once more. Skarsnik had cunningly drawn the Ratmen into the central valley between the Eight Peaks and encircled the foe. The Deff Creepers were positioned on high ridges behind the Skaven line, and at Skarsnik's signal, they crept forth. They managed to silence the Warp Lightning cannons and run rampant through the Skaven backlines, causing chaos as the cowardly Ratmen fled before them. The Deff Creepers' reign of terror only ended when the Verminlord Lurklocks appeared behind the Spider Riders and tore them apart with blade and throwing star. So ended one of the most infamous goblin mobs of the Drakewald, brought low not by stalwart state troops or howling beastmen as they might have expected, but by the chittering jaws of the Skaven. In Total War Warhammer, the Deff Creepers are the Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archer Regiment of Renown on the Greenskin roster, introduced through the King and the Warlord DLC for Warhammer 1. They cost 625 gold in multiplayer, which is 77 gold less than their generic rank 9 equivalents, so if you're already looking for a fully chevron Spider Rider Archer unit, these guys can save you quite a bit of money. They are still 150 gold more expensive than an unupgraded Spider Rider Archer, however, so you'll want to consider their special abilities carefully. The improved stats from being rank 9 are nice, but frankly not worth the extra 150 gold without their special abilities. These abilities are pretty nice, though. The Deff Creepers have Regeneration and Stalk, which are two of the best special abilities to have. Stalk ensures that they can get in a position without being screened out like visible skirmish cavalry can be, which is super handy. Regeneration is a little bit less useful, as their low initial hit point pool, melee defense, and armor values means they still have relatively poor survivability. Still, the ability to heal means they can handle getting caught by enemy light cavalry fairly well, and they can tank a few more shots from enemy ranged units than their generic counterparts. Generally speaking, you can think of their ability to regenerate as more of an insurance policy against bad micro, rather than something that turns them into a melee powerhouse. I will say, while regeneration is nice to have, I don't know why the CA devs decided to give it to the Deff Creepers. There's no recorded instance of them having unusual healing abilities, not like they ate troll meat or anything. While CA was probably limited by the unique abilities that Total War Warhammer 1 had when they first introduced the Deff Creepers, they obviously have no such constraints now. I'd love to see them eventually get looked at again to bring them more in line with the lore. Maybe give the Deff Creepers the terror and devastating flanker abilities, really driving home just how dangerous it is to let the creepers get around your backside. Also, and this would apply to Spider Riders in general, but I'd love it if they could scale walls in siege battles. It's okay if it looks janky, I just like to see it, and have them take over towns without building a single siege weapon like they do in the lore. With that, we've come to the end of our overview of the Deff Creepers. I really like these guys from a lore perspective, and Spider Riders in general. I think they're some of the more interesting greenskins around, but they don't get as much attention as Black Orcs and Night Goblins, so they kind of fall by the wayside in the lore. I personally would have loved a Black Library book following Snaggle and the Deff Creepers as they menace the Empire, but I might as well ask for the moon while I'm making such impossible wishes. Still, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff to keep the channel growing so more people can see this stuff. That is all I have for today though, so until next time, this has been Sigmar's Chosen, signing off for now.